New York Times had a story about how Obama's planning to use executive power more now. Stop trying to hit him and hit him already, man. He says he threatened to do recess appointments because the Republicans have been blocking, dozens of appointments, about 70 or 80 all in all, that he was going to do over President's Day, right? And he says, all right, look, since you're blocking them all and you're filibustering everything in your path, this is not normal course of business. I'm going to have to do recess appointments. And the Republicans came back and said, all right, okay, you know what? Since you're threatening that and we know we have no way to stop that, fine, you win. We'll let you have 27 of them. And of course, they're the 27 most non-objectionable. By non-objectionable, it's not like the others are really objectionable, it's just that they're making objections to them anyway, like the guy that's going to go on the National Labor Relations Board. The Republicans don't want the National Labor Relations Board to work. They don't want it to be able to function, and so they don't want it to get filled up. So not that they object to that guy in particular, their objections to him are ridiculous. We showed you a story before where Mitch McConnell said, I have raised hundreds of questions to his nomination, and if there are this many questions about it, then we shouldn't go forward. You're the one who raised the questions. They were nonsense questions. And you know you got nothing on him. Anyway, so they're blocking all this stuff. And so Obama is ecstatic that he got his 27 nominations for the least important positions. Not all of them, but most of them. And so he did no recess appointments. Stop trying to hit him and hit him already. What's this? Why are you bargaining? What's the negotiation about? Look, at this point in Bush's first term, he had only 4 nominees that were being debated because people had actual objections to him. Obama's got, depending on your count, Shelby released some of them, so it used to be a higher number, but between 60 and 80 that are being blocked for Obama. So this is obviously out of the ordinary. It's obviously ridiculous, right? So if I'm Obama, I'm not even negotiating with the guys. What am I negotiating with them for? Oh, I'll release the 27 that no one has ever objected to, but we held up for no reason anyway. No. You'll release them all because I'll do recess appointments for every single one of them. And then you'll cry like babies, and I'll tell you to go cry into your milk or your beer or whatever people cry into, and I'll not give a rat's ass as to what you think. What are they going to do? Use that as a campaign commercial? Obama was mean to us. He did recess appointments. Shut up and go away. Look, you know who did recess appointments all the time? Bush. And he didn't want it because, what are the Democrats going to say? Well, he didn't care at all what the Democrats were going to say. Now you say, hey, you don't want Obama to be like Bush. I hear you. And Bush constantly abused the process, right? But the Democrats were not blocking every one of his nominees. The Republicans are blocking every one of Obama's nominees. And it takes forever to get through all of them. Meanwhile, the government isn't functioning because that's the ultimate goal of the Republicans. They don't want the government to function. Come on now. Come on. Up and at 'em. All right, I'll give you a perfect example of what I mean by what Obama should and should not do, how he should not be like Bush or be like Bush in pushing things through. Okay, so how do we make that judgment call? Because it is, okay? Bush did signing statements where he said, all right, look, Congress gives me this law, I'm going to pass it, but I'm going to put a signing statement saying I'm not really going to follow it. That's nonsense, unconstitutional, ridiculous, unacceptable. If Obama wanted to do the same thing, it would be also ridiculous, unconstitutional, unacceptable. And in fact, Obama has on a couple of occasions. And when he did, we went nuts on this show. You can't do signing statements. It's just not. I mean, he was a constitutional law professor. Signing statements. That's ridiculous, okay? Now, so I'm not telling Obama, oh, do like Bush did and do signing statements and abuse your executive power. No. But on the other hand, here's what you can do where it is a useful way of using executive power and one that is not unconstitutional or unacceptable. You use the different departments that you have. For example, you're in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency. The courts have already ruled that the EPA has authority to regulate carbon emissions. Now, what Obama's saying is, Senate better give me a good cap and trade bill, otherwise I'll have the EPA regulate carbon emissions. First of all, the Senate's not doing a damn thing about cap and trade. Second of all, they're never going to do a damn thing about cap and trade. Everyone knows that that has no prayer of passing the Senate. So, Obama, what are you wasting your time for? You're the executive. This is exactly the kind of executive power you're supposed to implement. So go and tell the EPA to regulate carbon emissions. What are you waiting for? Stop trying to hit them and hit them. It makes no sense for Obama not to do that. You see that? You know what that is? I hate to do it to you, but it's absolutely true. That's weakness. And so if Bill Maher jokes around, as I have, and says, you know, we could use a little Bush in Obama, where Bush wouldn't hesitate for a second. You know what he did with the EPA was he took the top lobbyists in the industry and made them the heads of the EPA. And he said, well, he was actually a little smarter than that. He made him number 2 and number 3, and number 4 and through number 28, right? And he loaded them up, and they gutted it, and they stopped doing all the things that they needed to do, and they let the corporations get away with murder, and no one ever objected. Who found out about that? How did that become a political issue? It wasn't a political issue at all. Nobody found out about it, except us. Okay. So, and it was a story written in the middle of the New York Times or the Washington Post. Come on, get up and at 'em, man. You've got powers. Use them.